Hello, and welcome to the HelpMeSellMyCar.com Photography 103 guide. In this guide, our goal is to give you tips and recommendations on how to make the final steps of handling your photography easier and more convenient. Firstly, we will give a basic tutorial on how to transfer your photos from your device to your computer. Then, we will describe how we like to prepare our photos prior to uploading them to listing websites. Before we begin, we want to explain why we believe you should bother transferring your photos from your device when you can, in theory, create a listing straight from that device. The reason we strongly believe in using a computer is simply because it helps you stay organized. You can easily and quickly create a folder with anything and everything you need to create a for sale ad. This is in comparison to most smartphones and tablets, which have a pretty locked down nature, meaning you don't have very much control over where you store files. Also consider that most websites have a much easier to use interface on computers than they do on mobile devices. Therefore, using a computer may make your life significantly easier when it actually comes to the listing process. While it depends on the user, writing your description on a computer means that you have a physical keyboard in comparison to most phones and tablets, which require you to use a touchscreen. Of course, if you don't have a computer, then by all means create a listing with your chosen device. In our opinion, based on handling thousands of photos over the years, the following three transfer methods are the one you should consider first. The old school method of transferring data between devices is by direct connection. More likely than not, this means physically connecting a cable between your device and your computer, though some devices offer file transfer over Bluetooth and/or Wi-Fi. A potentially more convenient alternative is to upload your photos from your device to a cloud storage folder, which will allow you to easily download them to your computer at your convenience. Finally, the method we are probably all familiar with is to simply email yourself your photos. Which of these works best for you will depend on your device, your preferences, and how many photos you took. In general, we would say emailing your photos is the easiest way to transfer regardless of what device you have, while a direct connection offers the most control. The cloud storage option offers a nice middle ground of convenience and ease of use if you have the ability to use one. Before we describe how to go about using these methods, we strongly recommend that you avoid the following. Don't take screenshots from your device, only send the actual photo files. Using a screenshot dramatically reduces the quality of your photography and makes your final listing look much more amateur. You worked hard to take great pictures, don't throw that away by using screenshots. Try to avoid compressing or resizing your photos when you transfer them. Ideally, you want to work with the original file, and compressing and/or resizing reduces overall quality. Lastly, it sounds silly, but we certainly have made this mistake more times than we'd like to admit. Don't lose track of where your files go. Just be careful that you know what folder you are sending your files to, and don't delete anything on either device until you are absolutely, positively, 100% certain you do not need them anymore. Using a direct connection to transfer files between an Android-powered device and your computer is usually quite simple. Please keep in mind that your device may differ from our demonstration slightly. Firstly, you must connect your device and your computer together. We recommend and will demonstrate the process using a USB cable, but some devices can use a wireless Bluetooth or Wi-Fi connection. Most modern Android devices will immediately pop up with a request to allow access. You need to click Allow, otherwise you'll potentially have to dig into your device's menus. In testing, this was sufficient to give our computer complete access. However, if you didn't see this message or want to be certain, swipe down from the top of the screen to reveal the notification tray. Near the bottom of your notifications, you should see one from Android System. Tap on this to take you to the USB connectivity options. You should see a number of settings. You want to make sure that file transfer is enabled. Once it is, you can set your device down and focus solely on your computer. A quick note, if you are using a cable, you must have one that is designed for data transfer. Annoyingly, some cables are only designed to charge your device and won't work here. If your device doesn't pop up with the option to transfer files, you either need to try a different cable or an alternative method if you can't proceed past the next step. On your computer, you need to open up your File Explorer. If you successfully enabled file transfer on your device, you should see it in the list of connected drives. Typically, the device shows up under its name, so it should be very easy to find. Open the device folder. You will likely see a list of 10 or more folders. On most devices, photos that you took yourself are stored under the folder named DCIM. Oftentimes, there is an additional folder called Camera inside, but your device may call it something else. Your photos should be inside this Camera folder. You now only need to select which photos you wish to copy to your computer. You can select all of them at once by clicking a blank area and dragging your cursor to highlight the ones you need. Alternatively, you can click on one, then hold Control on Windows or Command on a Mac while you click on each of the other photos. Once you have selected everything you wish to transfer, you need to either right-click on one of the selected files and choose Copy, or hit Control-C on your keyboard. If you're on a Mac, the input is Command-C. Then, navigate to the folder you want to move everything to. We recommend to start with a folder on the desktop, but this is totally your preference. Once you are ready, right-click and select Paste or hit Ctrl-V on your keyboard, that is, Command-B on Macs. Your pictures will start copying. We strongly recommend using copy rather than cut so you have photos on both devices. We suggest that you don't delete them until you are reasonably certain that the new owner has the vehicle licensed and registered under their name. The process to transfer files from an Apple iOS device to a computer is virtually identical to an Android device, so we won't go through the whole process again. The only major differences are that you may not have to enable file transferring on your device, and that you should be able to go straight to your photos through your File Explorer by opening your device, then go to Internal Storage, then DCIM. Alternatively, you can use iTunes to transfer your files by selecting your device within iTunes, clicking the Files tab, then checking the appropriate boxes for the files and folder on your device before clicking Sync to start the transfer. iTunes has its own sync folder, so you'll need to find it before you can list your vehicle. If you wish to avoid the possible hassle of transferring with a direct connection, consider using a cloud storage solution. Before you begin, you will need to determine which of the many providers you wish to use. Some of the many options include Google Drive, Apple iCloud, Dropbox, and Microsoft OneDrive. If you have an Android device, you'll automatically have storage space on Google Drive, same with an Apple device and their iCloud service. Regardless of which provider you wish to use, you will probably need to download the appropriate application from your device's app store. You will then need to create or sign into your account for the chosen storage solution. All applications will have a different interface, but the procedure to upload should be as simple as clicking Upload and selecting whichever pictures you wish to add to your folder. Once the upload is completed, open that same cloud storage services website on your computer, sign in and find the pictures you just uploaded. You should be able to select the photos you need and click Download or similar. Depending on your computer settings, you may then need to manually select where on your computer the files will save. Typically, they will be stored in a Downloads folder, but every browser is a little different. Of course, because you use the cloud folder, your files are still safely stored online in case you delete them on your phone or computer. Of course, that is until you manually delete them in the cloud folder. Finally, you can almost always transfer your photos using email. We will assume you are reasonably familiar with the process of creating an email on your device, so the first thing you need to do is open your preferred email app on your phone. Create a new message and make sure it is addressed to yourself. It shouldn't matter if it is to the same address you are sending from or to a different account entirely. Just send it to whatever account is the easiest for you to access on a computer. Then attach your photos. Depending on the size of the files and your email provider's attachment limits, you may need to send your photos a handful at a time rather than all at once. As mentioned beforehand, you will want to send them at their original resolution, so if you are asked about file size, select original or full or similar to ensure that you aren't compressing or resizing your photos unnecessarily. Once you have successfully sent your email, you just need to check your email on your computer using your preferred client and open the new message. All you need to do now is download the attached photos to your chosen location and you should be ready to proceed. Now that you have transferred your photos from your device to your computer, we have a couple of recommendations on how you can save yourself some time during the actual listing process. The easiest thing you can do to help yourself is to rename your photos to something that keeps them in the order you want them to appear. To start, slowly double-click on a photo's name or right-click on one and select Rename. At the very least, we suggest that you rename the first photo to 1, the second to 2, and so on. Doing so helps ensure that they will upload to a given listing website in the correct order, saving you from having to carefully reorganize your photos later. If you are following our recommendations with the Fundamental 6, be sure that your photos are ordered in a logical manner, using those 6 photos to reorient the viewer in a given location. We will go more in depth on detail shots in later videos, but as long as you feel like somebody can easily understand where each photo takes place, you are most likely ready to go. While doing so, we also suggest adding a logical, written title to each photo to remind you what each one is. For instance, the first photo could be called 1 front 3/4, the second 2 rear 3/4, and so on. This way, if you need to skip a photo to meet a given website's restrictions, you can easily ignore one rather than guessing or having to manually go through each one. There are a few more small, but ultimately quite helpful, things that you can do to help manage your photos. Be sure that your photos are not rotated incorrectly. In our testing, Microsoft's default photo viewer would save rotation settings if we made adjustments. Apple's equivalent program should do the same, so you don't necessarily need to use a dedicated photo management software just to rotate your pictures. You should also consider blurring or covering any potential privacy concerns, such as license plates or addresses on each photo. There's no need to go crazy with Photoshop or anything. You should be able to use Microsoft Paint or similar to simply cover anything of concern. Of course, not having these things in your photo in the first place is better, but if you find yourself in the position where you just can't avoid it, we want to assure you that you don't have to purchase an expensive program just to fix it. Finally, it behooves you to keep your photos in the same general location on your computer as you do any other relevant documents for selling your car. That way, you can easily and quickly reference any of them without having to click through a dozen folders every time. Thank you for watching our video. Here's a quick recap of what we have discussed. Before proceeding to list your vehicle, we recommend moving the pictures you have taken in your phone to your computer using a direct connection via cable, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi or similar, a cloud storage folder, or by simply emailing them to yourself. We strongly recommend that you rename each photo to keep them organized. We also suggest that you add a brief description of each photo to the name for your reference. Rotate your photos before uploading them. Most listing websites let you do this on their site, but if you do it on your computer now, you should never have to do it again, even if you transfer or upload them again. Finally, do your best to keep track of where your photos and other files are located so you can quickly and easily find them in the future, regardless of whether this is for the creation of your listing or to send them to a prospective buyer. In the next video in our photography series, Photography 201, we will discuss notable exterior details that show off more specific elements of your vehicle. We will then demonstrate how these detailed shots improve viewers' understanding of the options and features on your vehicle and how they interact with the Fundamental 6.